Hey everybody, this is Rogues Gallery TCG, and we're here for after ALIN Box Tournament with a Maliss deck profile. Our player here when he went 4-0. So go ahead and give us the sauce here.
Yeah, hey guys, it's Hen. Yeah, like he said, I won a ALIN Box Tournament last Friday playing Maliss. First off, I want to shout out Zero Stocks, Crimson King, and Yabub. They're a huge help in just like practicing before the event and just like learning the deck. I also want to give a shout out to Alex for lending me pretty much all the cards and Will for the list. But yeah, let's get into it. It's a pretty standard list. I played 2 Dormouse, 2 White Rabbit, 2 March Hare, and 3 Chessy Cat. So with the March Hares, I wanted to play 3, but I couldn't find the 3rd copy before the event.
Hey yo, who got you the 2nd copy?
It was actually Mr. Zero Stocks here.
Heck yeah, I did.
No OTSs in our area were selling singles, so we decided, you know, we'd just buy boxes. And then I pulled the first March Hare, he pulled the 2nd, and we traded for this.
That was a team effort right there.
Yeah, these are your Maliss names. Pretty standard, you want to max out on all of them. Chessy is a lot better to open now if you can open March Hare instead, because she just becomes free. Enough said there. March Hare is just the best card in the deck. You need to play 3 of this card.
He also always opens Chessy Cat.
This is true. For Maliss spells, I played 2 Underground, 1 Mirror. And then for the traps, I played 1 of MTP and 1 of GWC. So this card should have been the 3rd Chessy Cat. You don't really need it post Alliance Insight. All your combos are super linear. You don't really need the extra body that this provides. So I'd much rather side it for games 2 and 3 for going into time.
Yo, where's the 3rd trap?
TB11, you're behind if you're playing that card.
Bro, what? Why? That's
So,
crazy.
The concept, right, is that MTP becomes your best trap post Alliance Insight because it searches you the March Hare. So it becomes an extender and disruption on your opponent's turn. GWC and TB11, while they do help you extend a little bit further, there's so much win more, and they don't provide anything on the opponent's turn. So you really don't need to play either of these when you're playing March Hares. And then we played the 2 power spells, Terraforming, Gold Sark, very standard. These cards are busted. For Bestials, I played 2, 1 Mag, 1 Druis. You don't really need more. Your March Hare is already an archetype Bestial. And because your combos revolve really heavily around Splash Mage now, these cards like kind of just really don't come up.
Do you care about the Cyber's Lock?
You do not. After with all the new Cybers extenders, speaking of, with 3 backup, 1 wizard, you don't really need your extenders anymore.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's it for the engine. For non-engine, I played, of course, 3 copies of Fuelos, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being, 3 copies of Effect Veiler, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, and 3 copies of Dominus Impulse.
How many hand traps is that? Tell me.
So this is, I believe it's 18 hand traps. Very modest amount. We're just in that format, right?
Also the best hand trap in the format right there.
Yes, exactly. So Maliss, I think, is one of the reasons why Maliss is so strong in this format is because it can play this card. This card's super busted. It pretty much hits everything in the format, even like all the rogue options. So you just have to play this card. I played 6 copies of Removal, mostly because of the format, right? I didn't really expect a lot of Maliss, a lot of Ryzeal and Mitsurugi that much. So I played these because they're just better into the field. If I had to make any changes, these probably would have been Perulias, or I would have played the 7 count Charmies, so 2 Perulias and 2 Meowliss. That's it for the main deck. 40 cards, really clean. Again, the only change I'd make is replacing this copy of GWC with a March Hare.
Okay.
On to the extra deck. For your Link ones, I played Link Spider, Almirage, Lingeribo. This Lingeribo, I wanted to play 2, but I couldn't find the 2nd copy, so I replaced it with a copy of Allied Code Talker. These are all pretty standard, right? You play the Link Spider to help push through nibs. You play the Almirage to turn your hand traps into it if you open a hand trap plus like a backup Attic Mister or something like that.
Crazy.
It's just a lot of cool things you can do with Al Mirage. I think once in the tournament, I normal summoned an Effect Veiler and turned it into an Al Mirage to threaten Splash Mage because I had normal summoned a Dormouse. And I forced my opponent to respond to just summoning Al Mirage, and then it let me activate a Malice and Underground without having to worry about interruption.
That's a crazy bait.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool things you can do with this card. Link 2s, I played a Haggard, Dark, Splash Mage, SP, and Cyber's Wicked. This card's broken. If you don't know what it does, it lets you, when you summon a monster to its zone, it'll banish a Cyber's monster to add a Cyber's Tuner to your hand. So it's an extender in the sense that it'll add your backup Agnesser to your hand, and in the sense that it'll also banish a Malice name from your hand, or from your graveyard. So this card is super crazy. It also has the secret effect to where cards that it points to can't be destroyed. I believe by either card effect or battle, or both, one of those two. But it did come up during the tournament, so yeah, really good card.
Yeah, what's Dark for?
Dark is for the Malice Mirror, so I didn't expect it, but I wanted to play it anyway. So going second, if you can crack their board, you can turn 2 Dark monsters into Dark and then steal like a GW, or steal like a White Binder to set a trap.
That's also a QCR Dark. Oh my gosh, look at this guy.
Yeah, shout out Alex again. These are all his cards. You have to bling it out for the boy, right?
Oh yeah.
Haggard post Alliance Insight doesn't really come up because, or it's very a niche card where you suspect your opponent maybe is holding an Imperm or holding something like a Veiler for your Link 2 summon. Other than that, you don't really go into this one during your main combo. You're much rather going into Splash Mage.
Does Ogre hurt?
Ogre does hurt. So during the tournament, during the undefeated round, my Splash Mage did get Ogred, and it made me pass. But Ogre is one of those cards where it's like, you can punish your opponent by having something like a backup or a wizard in your hand to just push through it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Link 3s, of course, the most broken Link 3s in the game.
Yeah.
This one is the best one. She adds the field spell, which lets you banish the mirror. So this one is super insane. White Binder, I think people are still in the notion of like, you really want to hit this card. This card you like kind of really don't go into anymore. It's much more important to banish cards like Cryptor to extend and get you bodies on the board.
That's crazy. That's not that go-to card anymore, even though it's so good.
And then the Link 4s. Of course, we have Access Code Talker and Firewall Dragon, but we also have Topologic Bomber Dragon. So this card is crazy insane. All your boards are ending on this now instead of the Allied Code Talker. Because this can represent up to 3 banishes, or up to 3 board wipes on your opponent's turn. It's actually super crazy.
Is it not a once per turn?
It is not a once per turn.
That's
so
insane.
You can summon Hair to its zone to wipe the board. You can summon GWC, or you can GWC summon something back. You could Bastille summon something back and just wipe your opponent's board. It's crazy. You're typically making Firewall underneath the Bomber, so you also have the disruption with the Firewall. So it's really crazy. This card is just a lot better than the Allied Code Talker right now. And then, and like as I say this, I did play the 1 copy of Allied Code Talker just because I couldn't find the 2nd copy of Lingaribo. It came up once where I knew my opponent was playing a lot of jank cards like Dark Hole, Feather Duster. So I made this going first to be able to just like negate his power spells because I valued this over the board wipe from Topologic, but 9 times out of 10, you're always going to go into their Topologic Bomber Dragon instead. So yeah, if I were to make a change, again, I'd just turn this into a 2nd Lingaribo. But yeah, I think the extra deck was perfect. There was nothing I missed. I didn't miss IP. That card is just like really win more right now. And yeah, I only went into this card once, so I don't think this card's pretty like that good.
Would you play a 2nd copy of one of your Link 3s to play around the Kashtira?
I actually wouldn't because I do play a lot of cards. I did play a lot of negations. So I played against Kashtira Crystron in round 1 of the tournament, and it never came up to where like he could have banished any of my names to like really make me sad.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's the extra deck. Yeah, okay. And for the side deck, obviously. 3 copies of Lancia. This card was for Malice, but I only sided in against Christian. 3 copies of Phantasme. This card would have been MVP if it ever came up. If this card resolves, you're pretty much always winning, right? It lets you like fix your hand, draw into all of your broken like hand traps like Nibiru, Dominus, Impulse if you don't already have it. And it hits random rogue stuff like Salamangreat, shout out Crimson King. Yeah, this card's super broken. I wouldn't have changed it even though it barely came up. 3 Joels. I did know there were going to be people at the tournament that were playing Mitsurugi, so this card was pretty much needed to just full stop that deck. It did come up to where I sided this in going first, to where if I got Charmed, I could draw myself, because this deck doesn't really care about draw. But yeah, this card's super broken. You just have to play it this format. And then I wanted to play 6 Charmers in the side, but I couldn't find them. So instead, I played a Thrust package with 3 Thrust, 1 D-Barrier. This actually did come up because in the undefeated round, I played against Goblin Materiactor. And
what a deck.
On top of the full combo that I was able to put up, I was able to just thrust into D-Barrier. So, and just like stop him there. And it did come up because he had a called by to break my board, right? So yeah, this was kind of nice. It only came up once, but it won me the tournament. So I don't think I would have changed it. And then 3 cards going first. 2 copies of I Meet You, 1 copy of Called By. This is self-explanatory. This card going first, it's broken, right? It lets you reveal a Cyberse to add, or a Cyberse with 2300 attack from your extra deck to add a Cyberse from your deck with, I believe, the same attribute. This card's broken. You sided in going first to be able to find mainly backup at Ignister. And it lets you just play around like infinite hand traps, right? Because going second, you're gonna have to play against like Nibiru's, Artifact Lancias, like all of that stuff. So it lets you just fight through the board, fight through the interruptions that your opponents have, and then still put up full combo anyway.
That is really cool. So basically, you are able to search the part of your engine that doesn't care about Lancia. Yeah.
So before this, I was playing Solemn Strike, Solemn Judgment, testing out the Solemn cards, right? Because you still are drawing like infinite cards with like Chessy Cat and Whitebinder. But like those cards, because you have to draw into them, if you open it and you get immediately Lancia, you can't really do anything, right? You just have to set the Solemn Strike and hope it stops your opponent. But with I Meet You, it lets you still be able to put up a board. So I really like this card.
That's crazy.
That's the deck profile. Honestly, other than the changes I mentioned, the deck ran super smooth. I know this was, it couldn't win YCS Providence. It's a Mr. Potential deck, but it is very strong for the format. And yeah, probably, I still think it's the best deck in the format, but that is to be seen with the YCS. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.